he was, I'm trigger warning, first of all, for those of you who experience any form of sexual assault. I should have said that earlier. My apologies. My dad was slow and calculated with the way that he actually carried out the sexual abuse, and I wasn't going into it screaming, crying, thrashing. I was often, quote unquote, a willing participant. I was so conditioned to it, it felt normal to me, actually. I just thought this is what daddies and daughters do. Seriously. He had me actually believing that I was asking for it. Ooh, child. But anyway, by the time I told my mom that it was happening, I hadn't thought, well, there has, no, okay, that's not true. There was one time I did think, like, maybe this is wrong. And that's because I saw a commercial. So I hold on, I'm getting ahead of I was born in 76. And for those of you who are old enough to remember, y'all remember all the commercials in the 80s about AIDS? There were so many commercials about AIDS. I do remember one time after a specific sexual encounter, like recalling some of the commercials about AIDS and wondering if my dad was going to give me AIDS, which is just really a funny thought because I've barely ever thought about that before. But anyway, I had that one time that I thought that thought, but other than that, I didn't even think to tell my mom anything or anyone else anything that was going on because of how much my dad made it believe it was just this normal part of what we did together. So I didn't actually end up telling my mom until I saw a TV commercial. And in the commercial, they said they showed like a little girl and they showed her in a bikini and it like pointed to the private parts and it was like, if you're being touched in these areas, then you should tell a trusted adult. And so I just very casually told my mom. I walked into her room. It was the middle of the afternoon. It was an after school special, which thank God, you know, I wish I could find out who produced that after school special, but it was a story about a little girl who was being bribed by her. I don't even know if it was her mom's boyfriend or maybe an uncle or someone who was trusted. And the actual after school special was about him taking her to get gifts to keep her quiet about the abuse that she was enduring. And that's what my dad was doing to me. He was taking me to Canada because we live in Detroit. So it was just a quick hop, skip, and a jump over to Canada to buy clothes and buy things. And he was completely bribing me into these behaviors with, if you do this, if we do this, then you get that. I was, like I said, very conditioned, very much a willing participant. I was like, okay, daddy, this is what we do. So when I told my mom, I didn't even tell her like it was a big deal. I just said, you know, I just saw this special and they told me that if someone was touching me here and there that I should tell someone. And I'll just never forget, she was laying in bed. I went into her room and it was dark in there. It was like late afternoon. She was sleeping and I just was like, Mom, I gotta tell you something. And she was like, what? You know, and she was just laying there and I told her, and I'll just never forget, she sprung up in bed so fast, like she shot up.